Alright, we are live. TwFu taking on Solaire Club here. Going to be doing a solo cast. Nobody's really interested in joining, and I don't know. I kind of feel like a solo cast anyway. I don't know why. I'd like to hear the sound of my own voice for a while. Regardless, should be a pretty solid series. TwFu was in Diamond a couple cycles ago, as I keep making allusions to. Kind of disappointed in Cycle 4, though. But here they are, in the round of 8. And to get here, they beat Hussars, which isn't really that impressive because Hussars not really that great a team, so not that big a deal. But Solaire Club, definitely a team that's a little bit on the rise recently, and a pretty solid performance in Cycle 4. Was previously a bit of a mid-tier gold team, so these are probably two squads that are sort of moving in different directions. TwFu a bit more on the way down, Solaire Club a little bit more on the way up, and they might be intersecting at a relatively even point in their trajectories, so hoping for a solid match. And obviously this game was remade, which is why the drafting phase went so quickly and why the bans made no sense. So I won't even try to analyze any of the pick order or the ban or anything like that. I'll just go ahead and look at the lineups as they appear. But as I was saying a second ago, wouldn't be surprised if things get pretty even in this series, because these are two teams that should be about evenly matched right now. Probably a mid-tier gold, maybe a little bit higher. Probably somewhere in the 16 teams. Probably 5, 6, 7 range. Could be a little higher, could be a little lower. It'll depend on who they match up with at any given time and who they manage to Solaire Club. And who they manage to get lucky against, really. But obviously, Slot Please going please. TwFu, a team that actually does a lot of long conquers as well. Solaire Club, I think they're a bit notorious for doing it. They've done it quite a bit. So TwFu's like, yeah, we're going to check Kong. They also have a Gauntlet. Seems to be a good idea. So level 1 Kong, going to be thwarted by the TwFu side and Solaire Club. Probably a little bit annoyed. Just been not going to be able to get the token. That's really new to him. Maybe Army of Bums on the Suicide Kraken. Army of Bums is playing Kraken, you guys. What a surprise. It's almost like he's playing a hero that he plays fucking constantly. I don't understand how this hero always gets picked up for him. I think that people would start banning that Kraken, and I don't know. Worst like got dropped on top of Glacius's, so I wonder if you actually saw that. Anyway, looking at both teams, Swiftblade, Puppet Master, Glacius, Pharaoh, and Bubbles for the Legion side, so a solid lineup. I would say a little bit greedy on the first 2 picks, but the last 3 actually are not going to require too much farm in general, so they should be able to split this relatively evenly between Puppet and Swift. Have a fair bit of damage, lots of lockdown. Push isn't great, but in general, I like their lanes and their lineup quite a lot. In the bottom lane, looks like we're going to be seeing a tri-lane, as Swifty and Puppet are down here, so this is going to be a support Puppet, in fact, which, yeah, makes a lot more sense. Never mind. It's not greedy at all, and Army of Mums is dead real fast. So this is going to be a support Puppet for the 2nd series in a row. Yesterday we saw Izu versus PI, and we saw Izu running a support Puppet Master, and that didn't go particularly well for them, but that's alright. I just think the hero has potential, and we actually might be seeing a Jungle Swift. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. So he was just there perhaps to grab the Bloodlust, but yeah, there's going to be more of a farming Puppet Master, so I take back what I said, more about the support Puppet and not so much about Izu versus PI, but anyway, it will be a Puppet Master Glacius bottom up against this Kraken who is Suicide and has died once already, and he's going to have a very difficult time as a result. They have a lot of CC tools, so he's relatively tanky, but they should be able to lock him down for long enough to kill him a couple of times. I wouldn't be surprised, especially after that Bloodlust, if they manage to garner 1 or 2 more kills. Swiftblade ganking will also be very important. Gauntlet gonna die to the tower. Not really sure what his plan was there, but it was a great one. Swiftblade ganking once again in the middle lane. Didn't actually get an assist there, but you could see him chasing down the Gauntlet, and obviously helping Pharaoh get that kill a lot. So middle lane, it will be the Pharaoh versus the Gauntlet, and Pharaoh already off to a really strong start, 415 GPM thanks to that kill. Gauntlet only at 160 gold per minute, so Solaire Club not looking great right off the bat. You already see a 1,000 gold lead and a 3,300 experience lead. Bottom lane, they kill Kraken again. I'm going to go back and watch it, actually, as it looks like just level 1 Kraken gets frozen, charged away, and came back to attack the Glacius. I don't think that he actually had the Voodoo Puppet on him. He did. Interesting. Maybe it applied the auto attack to Glacius, so it noticed it was him, and then he charged away, and then it went back in the middle of the charge. That's really interesting. Anyway, bottom layer, top lane, Bubble's going to be able to shell surf through the wall, so not going to be a kill. So we haven't talked about top lane yet, but SolC and Empath going at it up against the Suicide Bubble. So Salim not having a great time and probably won't have a good time at all unless he gets lane control, which is possible. But between the Empath and the SolC, there's a lot of damage and a fair bit of lockdown coming out. Empath not going to throw a wall out, it looks like, as they wouldn't have the follow-up. But SS, Ganondorf, currently at 183 gold per minute. Really? Just got a bunch of CS right there. So I'm kind of shocked. Why does he only have 7 creep kills? Well, Ganondorf not having a great time, and experience is relatively even here, but gold leads substantially in favor of the Legion side. So looks like the jungle on the Hellborn, and the Tempest is helping them keep a relatively even experience lead, but bit of a problem as they're losing out in the gold department. What we often see in a jungle versus dual support lineup is the dual support team manages to keep relatively even gold, but they lose out in experience, and we're sort of seeing that here, except for the Legion's what should be an experience advantage is being negated by the jungler, and instead of just taking the gold lead as a result of those kills. Swiftblade is sort of jungling, and he's also sort of not. He's got 265 GPM, which isn't bad, but he's not doing the greatest, and he will spin on top of this camp. That should give him a fair bit of CS, actually, yeah. I'll get up to 290 gold per minute now. Wouldn't be surprised if he looks to gank another lane, perhaps middle. Pharaoh is level 5, and very possibly level 6 in the near future. He has the current highest experience per minute in the game. And bottom lane, Empath gonna get the pull, but Salim gonna cut this off a little bit, and he will get 1 CS, 2 CS. I feel like count. What's the Sesame Street count guy? Anyway, Wall gonna block off Salim a little bit, but he got a shell surf, so he feels pretty content to just sit here and trade some autos with Empath, although he's not really trading that many autos. And he's gonna lose a lot of health and have to be forced to take a tree. As a result, he's currently out of mana, or sorry, out of regen. So I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, he's gonna stop off here, grab a health pot, and head back to lane. He's actually take the health pot too, so I'm not really sure if that's the most efficient use of his regen. He probably shouldn't have eaten the tree if he was gonna do that. Bottom lane, meanwhile, another freeze going on to Army of Mums, but I don't think they're going to be able to get a kill off of it. And middle lane, Gauntlet forced to sit back a little bit, as that's the XPM trick, the GPM trick. I expect he's doing much worse in GPM. Yeah, 224, and Pharaoh actually leading the charts in GPM. Kill helping, but he has since been able to take lane control. Bubbles going to rotate mid, but so is Empath. They're going to catch Bubbles here? Yeah, they definitely see him now. And Pharaoh going to jump in here. He's got the Wrath of the Pharaoh available, but we'll just pop the Hellfire, and actually isn't going to be able to do too much else after that. Kind of surprised that they coordinated that the way they did. It didn't seem like they were communicating particularly well. But Pharaoh with a bottle. Yeah, and he has a regen in it anyway. Hook onto him though, and he's gonna take Gauntlet Blast as well. There, the Glacial Blast. Wrath of Pharaoh goes through. Are they gonna be able to lock him down for long enough? No, and he's gonna pop the regen rune. They counter onto Gauntlet. Tempest also gonna be in some trouble. Wall going through, but Swiftblade should be able to get this last kill. It's gonna stop the regen rune, but Pharaoh does manage to live, and now Empath could be in some trouble as well. Salim having a shell serve actually does connect with a rocket, going to finish off the Empath. So ends up being a 3-0, 6-0 hero kill advantage for Twisted Fusion. So maybe I spoke too soon, and in thinking that they were going to be fine. Bottom lane, Army of Mums about the torrent and the splash auto onto Glacius. Needs to land a charge here. He gets frozen though, and yeah, he will actually get the charge. Splash will finish off Wardcat. So that's going to be a nice kill. Finally, Solaire Club get on the board, and Kraken now could be in some trouble. Swiftblade's running over with Ghost Marchers, looking for the spin, has available, takes the splash auto, and is he going to have enough damage? I don't think he's going to have to finish off this Kraken. Maybe he will. Wow.
Waste of time.
It's pretty painful with those Ghost Marchers. And Kraken not being level 6 yet, unable to drop their leads. Kraken on Swifty's head and stun him with the Superior Magic Stun. It's a bit unfortunate, but 3k gold, 1k experience. Twisted Fusion looking very, very good in the early going. Pharaoh obviously having a pretty fantastic time in the middle lane, and that's a hero that doesn't necessarily need farm, but does quite well if he gets it. Having that puzzle box mauler up against a Kraken, up against a Gauntlet, up against a Soul Stealer, a Tempest, with all of their AoE damage that they cannot control, there's a real good chance they're going to kill it. And Soul Stealer in particular, he's going to probably kill that mauler a lot, and that's going to be 600 true damage at level 3 when that box gets built up. So I'd like to see that. I'd like to see barbed armor as well. Sure, why not? Get both. And just watch SolC wreck himself upon Pharaoh's body. But regardless of what they go for, TwFu definitely substantially ahead at this point. And, I mean, Solaire Club aren't really that far behind. It's not like this is unrecoverable for them by any means. We got 350 GPM on Cannondorf. Noob in the jungle is doing alright at 280 gold per minute. Definitely not bad. And Jismin in the middle lane, 236. So, again, not horrible, but not great either. Empath doing typical Empath stuff, and Army of Moms is suffering pretty hard in the suicide role. Top lane, I feel like they want to try to jump us bubbles. Tempest is kind of hanging out, like they want to do something. He's got an ultimate. The problem is they're going to have to do some more to push this lane up. And Solaire's... Nope. Here comes Bubbles with the kill field. They're going to counter this, though, onto the Bubbles, and the slashes will go there. They immediately cancel the Tempest ultimate, though, with the Wrath of Pharaoh. They managed to go Bubbles, obviously, first off, and there goes SolC and Tempest, though, so not a bad trade at all. Legion side setting up gank of their own, and they managed to pick off 2 valuable heroes, in fact, the 2 highest farmers on Legion on the Hellborn side, in exchange for just their suicide Bubbles, who wasn't doing all that well in the first place. Invis Kraken gonna get picked up here. Rocket goes down. They're gonna look for the jump onto this Pharaoh, but they can't really find it. Just been looking for the angle. Empath wall and the charge forward actually gets the stun out of the Link. What they're gonna need to get the Gauntlet Blast actually there with the freeze, and now the Mummy Walls go up, and now they can't do anything against this Pharaoh. They're gonna turn that into a Gauntlet. Now Kraken be in a lot of trouble. Hellfire gonna lock him down, and he's gonna be dead. In the background, Empath trying to get the Essence Link damage and up, but the freeze will go on there from Glacius. Empath gonna fall as well. SolC coming back in. Doesn't seem like they'll be able to get any counter kills, so Swiftblade's just going to run away. Mummy Wall is going to push Tempest a little bit, but doesn't actually do that much. Thunderblast is going to slow them down. Rocket also going to do some damage, and Salim in the background, perhaps looking for some counter kills. Glacier's going to try to kill himself. The Ancients is going to get it, and that's got to be really, really frustrating for the guys on Solaire Club, because they probably should have gotten at least 1 kill out of that. Instead, they lose 3 heroes, and they don't get credited with any kills. Bit of a problem. And TwFu, that lead that they had a second ago, about 2,000 gold, 1,000 experience, has suddenly metamorphosized into an extremely significant lead. 5k gold, 5.5k experience. And in the meantime, they're winning these fights 4v5 as well, because Puppet Master is not really rotating from his bottom lane. He's sitting at 350 GPM, which is fine, but actually getting out-farmed by both the Pharaoh and the Swiftblade, as they've been incredibly active. Swiftblade 6-0-4. And just doing very, very well in the early going. See what he goes for, but it looks like the Abyssal Skull right off the bat. I have absolutely no problem with that. I might have liked to see the Energizer first into the Abyssal Skull, because they are so active, and having the Energizer early on could be very, very helpful. Bottom line, they sort of look like they're trying to set up something onto this Puppet Master, but Kraken without level 6, he really needs it. He's just not a great ganker without that ultimate. So I'd like to see him leech experience for a little bit in this lane before they try to kill anybody. Puppet content to just sit here and grab CS, as he well should be. Empath can triple stack these Ancients, and I would assume that SolC will be by momentarily to finish them off once she does so. Rocket gonna scout her out. No, and just hits the side actually, so I guess they wanted vision of that, and it's not gonna stop the stack. So, triple stacked Ancients will be available for SolC, or possibly somebody else, depending on if they want to get somebody an earlier portal key, particularly the Gauntlet of the Kraken. But I think they're far enough off of that at this point that it's probably be SolC, and neither of them particularly get Ancient Clears anyway. So, natural reaction is that it's just going to be the SS. Middle lane, a couple of heroes grouping up for the Legion side, and looking to push perhaps. Pharaoh returning to his home lane. And his GPM's gone down a little bit as he hasn't killed anything in a couple of minutes, which is different for him. But still 3-0-6, having an obviously really good game. It's pretty much been him and Slot that have been more or less carrying this game. I mean, we're not very far into it, so I don't really want to say carrying, but they've been substantially ahead. Empath not going to get caught. They really keep scouting that little area. I want to make sure nobody's there. And instead there's going to be pushed in the bottom lane, as we see a couple of heroes off the side. Glacius and Pharaoh hanging out, waiting for the Hellborn side to try to defend this tower, but it doesn't look like they're going to. And Pharaoh continuing to scout with rockets. This will be a tier 1 tower kill for Twisted Fusion. And that'll be their first tower kill of the game. Hellborn side on their hand are going to continue to push the top lane, where they've already taken 1 tower. Look to take a tier 2, and actually they're killing this rather quickly, so I'd like to see, yeah, Legion going to try to make a defense here. Swiftblade going to stop the port. No, doesn't have enough time. Tempest going to try to run away, and he could be in some trouble. He's going to get cut out by the rocket. There's Swift Slashes, but the creeps actually didn't eat any of the bounces, and no, bad times for Noob McNoob. Sort of tried to juke, but got blocked by his own creeps, and obviously the Ghost Marchers from Swifty, and that he was going to be able to catch Tempest no matter what. Tempest currently sitting on Steam Boots, actually, which is a bit of a departure. Usually see Plated Greaves, Striders, or maybe even Ghost Marchers. Steam Boots, reasonably rare on Tempest, I think for good reason. He's not particularly fast, so Ghost Marchers can sometimes give him the little boost of speed he needs. Striders are relatively cheap for a hero that doesn't need a huge amount of damage or anything. Kraken gonna get jumped real fast. 2 men gonna get hit by the Wrath of the Pharaoh, and easy deaths from that Invis Puppet Master who has an Assassin Shroud, so immediately making use of that item. And Fair actually picked up the Barbed Armor, so not going to go with the Puzzle Box off the bat. That's fine. And I'd like to see him pick it up next, but not that big a deal. Barbed Armor early on, definitely just alright. Twisted Fusion, meantime, they will be taking a pretty solid lead, as they've got a 15-2 hero kill. I didn't even realize it was that bad. I'm looking at Golden Experience, I'm like, yeah, they're pretty far ahead, but 15-2 in hero kills is ugly. And they're going to turn that into a mid-tower push. Empath's still level 4, so no ult for her. She will get spotted by the Pharaoh Rocket, and she's got to be real careful now, because that's going to be doing a lot of damage to her. Level 2 ultimate on Swiftblade. They will burst down bubbles right off the bat, but in the meantime, they're going to catch Tempest, and Tempest's going to die right there. Release Kraken onto 2, though. They still managed to kill Stand March on that Empath in the side. Pharaoh Rocket going to help do some more army bumps of Kraken, and Justman on the Gauntlet, both dying. Kandorf can be able to run away, it looks like, as they don't really have a way to catch him. But he doesn't need to be here any longer, so he should just leave. And I'm feeling an early GG, as I really don't feel like there's any realistic way that Solaire Club can turn this around. Short of some pretty significant throws from Twisted Fusion, but I don't know. I mean, it's the winner's bracket, so, and it's only game 1, so taking a loss here is not that big a deal. And Wrath of the Pharaoh will be able to catch Kraken right into the mummy walls and the freeze, easy kills. As that War of Sight is doing its work. Double damage ring also on Pharaoh, of course, helping out. And I'm going to turn this into a tier 2 push in the bottom lane that the Hellborn side can really do nothing about, so. I mean,
the Legion have destroyed
I don't think Solaire Club was out of this maybe 10 minutes ago. That was 10 minutes ago. Now they're kind of out of it. And you can see Swiftblade is jumping onto 3 heroes by himself, getting a kill. He's going to get another kill. This is where we're at right now. Swiftblade is 3v1ing people. And yeah, there goes a concede mode, which is probably going to pass. And just going to die. So, hat trick for Slot. He's 12-0-5.
Legion wins.
And that game goes to Twisted Fusion. So, things not looking great for Solaire Club right off the bat, as they basically got down early and did not do anything to help themselves come back. Game 1 going to be in the books, and we'll see how they respond in Game 2. I was honestly hoping for a little bit more contention from Solaire Club, and to be honest, pretty great game from Twisted Fusion. Haven't seen too much good from them in a while, so I'd like to see that continue. And I mean, they've been a good team in the past, and it wouldn't be bad to see them get there once again. So that'll do it for Game 1. We'll move on to Game 2 in just a moment.